You know what? The wait for Warhammer 3 can be a bit killer, so I figured, hell, it's been a while. How about we boot up some Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Times instead and spread Papa Nurgle's blessings to the four corners of the known world. We got the chosen Knights of the Plague God, disgustingly resilient and clad head to toe in rusted, rotted armor. We got sorcerers, pockmarked by disease and decay, lining up for some foul farts that debuff enemy morale, and they can do it from real far away. We've got Pox Maggoths, terrifying beasts of Nurgle, grown more swollen and mutated than even a rampaging chaos spawn. We've got Plaguebearers, the lesser demons of Nurgle, his tallymen, a slow advancing tide of creeping death, naturally joined by Chaos Warriors and Chosen, and even those silly little blighters, known as Nurglings, the cutest, most infectious critters you could ever hope to love. Exactly what you'd expect here from Papa Plague, a slow, inexorable march of powerful warriors who can shrug off the mightiest of blows, have multiple HP, and smell really, really bad. But they're not the only disease freaks on the field today, because they're matching up against the rat men, who have some buboes, phlegm, blood, and guts of their own to share with the world. So they've taken position at the crest of this hill, with a horde of clan rats and Skaven slaves at the front, storm vermin with halberds protecting the flanks against cavalry, and even some plague censer bearers in the center, using those flails to spread pox and decay wherever they can. Wouldn't actually work against the armies of Nurgle, of course, but it's still a bludgeoning weapon, and a cultist without a head is a cultist who is very dead. Jezzail sniper teams, alongside rattling guns with their rotary cannons, and a screaming bell crewed by rat ogres. Also some doom flayers, a biker gang, chilling at the summit alongside some more monstrous infantry. Now, the Screaming Bell gives a huge leadership bonus to Skaven in a radius around it. I think it might even be map-wide, even when it's not being crewed. And there's also a Warp Fire Thrower in the center. So, a lot for the forces of Nurgle to worry about here. Some scary weapon teams they'll have to deal with. And that approach won't be too disastrous, because there's only one Plague Wind Mortar to fire in, and just a few sniper teams. So, not crazy amounts of firepower from the Thagaraki here. At least not from very long range, but as they get closer and the rotary cannons start opening up, as the Jezzails begin sniping in on the Chosen, that's when that damage is going to start becoming a serious issue. So, close the gap as quickly as you can if you're the Plaguebearers of Nurgle, and I guess that's one of the weaknesses that we'll see from them in both Medieval 2, Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Times, and in Warhammer 3. They're slow as hell. They are slow as balls. They do not move quickly. Most of their units are going to be amongst the slowest in the game. Even their Chaos Knight variants will be slower than the typical Chaos Knights of Chaos Undivided. So, getting into melee without getting blown up can be hard. That's why they have more HP. They just survive the shots and tank them rather than use their maneuverability to get into a good position. But the weapon teams have opened up. We can see the muzzle flashes, gas, and warp fire arcing over the tops of the Skaven slaves, or into them. It's not a Skaven battle without some juicy friendly fire. And yeah, the followers of Decay might have more HP per model, depending on the unit of course, but they're still weak to fire, and they can still be shot to death by warpstone tipped rounds fired from big ass guns. Bullets and flame. My only weakness. Big charge coming in from the Chaos Knights into the Doom Flayers, and the Chaos Warriors, and even the Plague Beasts of Nurgle. Those Pox Maggoths charging right through the center of the Storm Vermin into the Plague Censer Bears, and they might continue that rampage all the way into the Warplock Jezzails beyond. Now, monstrous infantry in Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Times does not work the same way as it does in Vanilla, Warhammer 2, Warhammer 1, or obviously in Warhammer 3. They're quite a bit tankier, they have more HP, multiple HP per model. It's a very different HP system in Medieval 2 than it is in Total War Warhammer, and this is a good example right here. Regular Chaos Warriors have 1 HP, monstrous units like Rat Ogres and other stuff can have up to like 8 hit points, so for the rank and file, armor and shield block chance matters of course, but if you lose your saving throw and a missile hits you, you're dead. If the dice are not in your favor, you are a dead boy. So Chaos Warriors, being immolated by all that Warp Flame, should probably be less effective in CA's trilogy, and they'll have to find a way to push through and shut down those weapon teams, which are causing a lot of havoc right now. I think the Pox Maggoths will play a large part in that. They have the mass to push through and go wherever they want to. But yeah, Chaos Warriors moving very slowly out to the flank, tied down by some clan rats, and they're having a difficult time getting positioned in a way where they can put some threat on the rear. Here come the Plague Farts of the Sorcerers of Nurgle. They are far back, and you see that it doesn't do that much damage, but it does drop a big leadership debuff that at the moment is being completely counteracted by that Screaming Bell positioned at the top of the hill, and I'm not sure there's a way to destroy it. So basically it seems like an auto-include for the Thagaraki. You bring that thing and your army's going to be a lot less likely to rout. Now I say that Storm Vermin are breaking off, and they were contacted by that Plague Sorcerer, so definitely did some morale damage to them, but this is where being used to Total War Warhammer can kind of get you in trouble. Chaos Knights, if they get a clean charge off on Rat Ogres, should dumpster them for the most part. I mean, the Rat Ogres will do okay damage to them back because they have a lot of AP, but they're a very squishy unit and they have poor leadership. Not so in Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Times. You just have a bunch of HP and they're being anchored by that Screaming Bell. So they have absolutely dumpstered the regular Chaos Knights out on the flank. You can see up at the top of that hill, just tons of bodies, and here, a bunch of Marauders also immolated by the Warp Flame. They've been butchered, set alight, and there has to be a way to shut those things down, because the Rattling Guns and the Warp Flame by themselves, if they're given more time, they'll be able to butcher a huge portion of this Nurgle army. But as far as pretty much even at the moment, and you can see the Forces of Chaos have begun to push through. The Beasts of Nurgle rampaging into the backline now. Here come the Doomflayers, which are also apparently very good in an anti-cavalry role. Kind of like what we saw from Doomflayers when they were first revealed in the Prophet and the Warlock DLC. They were OP for a month or so. Pretty disgusting, even against enemy cav. And it seems to be the same case here. I mean, they did some decent damage to the chosen Knights of Nurgle, and looks like Nurgle has completely given up on that right flank. They've moved away, they moved their cavalry out into a different position, and they need to find a different way to break into this defensive formation. Rat Ogres into the center, fighting alongside the Chosen of Nurgle and the Plague Sensor Bearers, who did get a downhill charge. Plaguebearers are tanky beasts. They have 2 or 3 HP in this mod, so they are amongst the tankiest infantry in the game, as they should be. Disgustingly resilient is, I believe, one of their special rules, or at least it is one of Nurgle's special rules. I don't know if that applied specifically to the lesser demons of Nurgle or not. But Chaos Knights with a not-so-clean charge-off, blocked by their own Plaguebearers. Now the Storm Vermin Halberds have closed the gap, and they're ready to do some stabbing. More Plague Sorcerer Fart Winds dropping down. And I think they can do friendly fire on that too. I don't think the forces of the Plague God are immune to their own contact effects, so when there's some friendly fire, it can cause some chain routing on their own, which you gotta be pretty careful of. Big shot coming in here, dropping down on the Clan Rats on the far flank, and the Nurglings and the Plaguebearers, I do believe, are unbreakable. They cannot rout. They will fight to the death, and of course, there's no crumbling mechanic or magic that works against them in Beginning of the End Times, so it's not so easy to get rid of demons, any of the demons, but especially the Nurgle demons in this mod. Big charge from the Doomflayers into the Plague Sorcerers, might be able to kill them up. There are some Chaos Knights nearby, and the Plague Beasts and the rest of the Nurgle Cav have taken the hill. They've surrounded the Screaming Bell, but they have no way to shut it off and shut it down, which is annoying, because if it's no longer manned by anything, you would think it would no longer give a leadership bonus, and there might be some mechanics there that I'm not aware of, but the Skaven are not routing very much. We've seen one Storm Vermin unit rout, and that's pretty much it. The Skaven slaves and the Clan Rats are pretty much fighting to the death, which is crazy. It's not what you'd expect when fighting against the Skaven of all factions, and in fact, Marauders and Chaos Warriors are breaking off before the Raki are. Annoying. I'm not a fan of that. Gotta do something about that infantry, and the best way to get rid of them in any Medieval 2 version is just charge them with cav. But the problem is that the monstrous infantry is as fast as cavalry, and as we already saw, they will butcher the Chaos Knights if they get a clean charge off. So try to get an engagement where you get that clean hammer and anvil off, but don't get stabbed in the back by a bunch of angry rat ogres can be pretty challenging. Looks like 2 of the sorcerers made it out alive after the Doomflayer charge. Those chubby little lumpkins managed to make it out. Scary situation for them. Rat ogres catching out the chosen Knights of Nurgle, who do not want to be in that kind of fight. 2 Doomflayers managed to survive. I believe they have multiple health points as well. And the Warplock Jezzails, 1 unit of them tied down by the Plaguebearers and being sliced apart by their filth-encrusted blades. Storm Vermin holding the flank on this side, getting shot in the rear by the Plague Sorcerers, And big charge from the Chaos Knights, and somehow the Chaos Knights lost more men than the Doomflayers did. Not a single model dropped on the biker team, but looks like the Chaos Knights lost a good 5 or 6 models rear charging them. I'm no expert on Beginning of the End Times. That looked a little bit goofy to me. Chaos Knights coming in for a hammer and anvil on the Plague Sensor Bears, and still, many of these severely depleted Thagaraki are not breaking, even after being fully and entirely surrounded. What the F, dude? I was playing this game with Gojira, and at this point, I was like, bro, why don't your men run? And I seriously think it's because of the Screaming Bell. Nurgle does not suck in this mod at all. They have some very powerful troops, and they still, I mean, the battle score is still slightly in their favor. They can definitely win this game, but I think whoever made this mod, or whoever balanced this particular version of the mod, must be a Skaven fan. Because there are a couple things in it that were making both of us go, huh? But that's alright. We got a barn burner on our hands here, folks. 2 sorcerers of Nurgle still spreading their mucculent broth across the battlefield. Plague Sensor Bears, which they might be unbreakable. That would make sense for them. They are zealots. I think even in SFO, actually, Plague Monks and Plague Sensor Bears were made unbreakable, so got no problem with that. Rat Ogres with a nasty charge into the Chaos Knights, and Medieval 2 Cavalry in general has a difficult time disengaging sometimes. They can move very slowly, and they are getting tied up by quite large, hulked out freaks of nature. So, yeah, finally able to run away. You can see that most of the mortals for the Chaos Gods have begun breaking towards the extract. But the unbreakable stuff, the lesser demons, the Plaguebearers, the Pox Maggoths with that oh, look at that fat, juicy butt. Oh yeah, shake that thing. Go on, shake that thing for me. That is some honky-tonk, badonka-donk on my boy right there, and he is still rampaging through the Skaven battle lines, causing some serious carnage. But there is a full-strength unit of Storm Vermin at the crest of this hill waiting, and it's protecting a weapon team, a sniper team, of Jezzails. Big charge coming in from the Rat Ogres, who do not seem to have taken too much damage so far. That is the weird thing about a multiple HP per model system, though. When you don't have any health bars whatsoever, it's hard to know when a unit is going to die. They could be all at 1 HP and about to start dropping like flies. That's typically what happens. Speaking of dropping like flies, a swarm of flies descends upon the Jezzails in the rear, and the Beast of Nurgle is on the hunt. Just killed 6 or 7 snipers and might be able to break them off completely. Balance War has started to swing in the favor of the Thagaraki. Weapon team being eaten alive by this terrifying abomination, still not routing. And not just not routing, they're impetuous, they're eager, they're winded, they're only a handful of models left. Down to 15 now, literally being consumed alive, and their leadership is holding. Why, dude? Why? There is absolutely no reason a weapon team, a Skaven weapon team, should not be running for the hills while being consumed by a Pox Maggoth. What in the world? It's definitely going to go the Skaven's way in this one. Fun battle, lots of kills. Big hammer and anvils, big creature killers, lots of stomping and eviscerating. But yeah, as much fun as I had in this battle, and I truly did, I was not a fan of how good the leadership was as the Pox Maggoth goes down for the Rat Men. If you're going to be able to field that much chaff and have such powerful weapon teams that can do that much damage, probably shouldn't also be unbreakable in and amongst your weapon teams and Skaven slaves too. You know? And I think a lot of that did come down to the Screaming Bell. Whatever leadership bonus it was giving off was huge. Normally, I don't think the Rat Men are anywhere near that good on the morale side, but with it, holy crap, they just would not rout. And the Rat Ogres messed up my Chosen Knights and Chaos Knights bad. And honestly, my cav micro that game was not very good. I think if I did a better job microing my Chosen Knights there, I have a very decent chance of winning. But I kind of forgot how hard it can be to kill Rat Ogres and Doomflayers with clean charge off. And I mean, 31 kills, 27 kills on very expensive cav units. just not going to be enough value there. The Sorcerers were great. The Plaguebearers were awesome, 173 on them. Chosen of Nurgle, 176. Plenty of my units did well, but the rank and file Chaos Warriors got destroyed by weapon teams, and my Knights were microed poorly, and Gojira protected his flank and rear quite well with his own special units. So, very well played to him. And if you guys want to see some more Beginning of the End time soon, let me know. I don't think most of the battles will be quite that jank in terms of leadership. So, hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.